What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 103, presented by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, aka The Muffin Mon, and today I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Physical Copy himself, Ethan. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. It's been a really long week, Kevin. And you know, when I have a really busy week, I have a hard time sleeping. Makes no sense. It's kind of the opposite of what should be happening. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling very drowsy right now. You know why? Because I tried this fancy new thing called melatonin.
Ooh,
For the
okay.
first time in my life, I took a little 5 milligram little tablet last night. My wife uses it. She's like, "You should just try it." Knocked me out cold. I had a very difficult time waking up this morning, and I felt groggy probably until about 1 o'clock. And I'm still sort of feeling the effects, but I got some G Fuel in my system, so I'm good to go, Kevin.
G Fuel gamer, your pro gamer strat right
Yeah,
there.
thank God we have chemicals to reverse biological necessities.
Oh, bro, yeah, no, I've been in a defensive driving course all day, so and the room was
Mm.
very hot, so staying awake was quite the challenge.
Yeah, that's sleep time.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about Xbox and video games. And if you like that, we are live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube. If you can't catch us live, we post every Friday morning on your favorite podcast service of choice. While you're over there, please drop us a review, drop us a rating. Apple, Spotify, doesn't matter, helps us grow, boosts us in that algorithm. And if you leave us a 5-star review on Apple, we'll read it live here on the show. If you want to interact with us more, please come join the Discord like so many people have. It's a great time, great discussions about everything. You want to talk about food, you want to talk about fitness, literally anything, games, obviously, movies, TV. Come over, hang
Yeah, we
out,
go
link in the
crazy.
description down below. And I want to point this out because in just over 1 month, Taylor, our host of No Limits, and myself will be going to Rome, New York for Extra Life Weekend, November 4th, 5th. We will be teaming with our friends at Carpool Gaming, the Trophy Room, going on the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team, raising money for 6 kids. So if you want to help support us in our fundraising effort and help some sick kids, the link is also down below. Any donations are appreciated. Maybe we'll get some prizes. I'm not sure. I know some other people have some prizes, but we'll do our best. We're a little smaller, but would love any support on that. It's for a good cause. And if you want to support us further and get early access to all of our content like No Limits, Frame by Frame, I Hate My Friends, an exclusive Patreon podcast, the post show for I Hate My Friends, Save the Game Boy, The Leftovers, and Amon's Comic Book Horror, head on over to patreon.com/save the game media, just like our current Patreon supporters have done. So shout out to Bucky Blue, Hopple, Alpaca Tom, Amon, SAZ, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Anna Hudak, and Nikolai at Night. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate you greatly. Ethan, I think that about covers
Yeah,
housekeeping.
I think it does.
So why don't we start like we do every week by going around the room and asking one simple question? And that question is, what you been playing?
Not a lot of Xbox, unfortunately. I've been, of course, still grinding away at Hard Space Shipbreaker, holding out hope that I can win that special edition Xbox. That would be, a dream of mine. Focus Entertainment doesn't miss, Kevin. What a great game. You should try it out. But I've been playing a lot of PlayStation this week. I finally finished up God of War. 2018. As I've said before, I've already beaten this game on PC, but I wanted to refresh my mind for Ragnarok release. Had such an impact, that ending. It was so beautiful. It got me so excited for Ragnarok. It was just as great the first time I beat that game. So God of War, great video game. And then I started up with Horizon Zero Dawn. I played a little bit of this on PC. I never finished it. I think there was another big Xbox game release around the time when it got its PC port. So I dropped it and I just haven't been back to it, but it's on PS Plus. So I was like, okay, I'll download it. I'll play through it because I have the code for Forbidden West that came with the PS5 and it's just kind of sitting there and I can't use it until I fully play through Zero Dawn. So I think Zero Dawn is going to be the last PlayStation game that I get through before Ragnarok. So I'm going to take my time with it, enjoy it. I'm really loving the combat in it. I think that's the highlight for Horizon Zero Dawn. I know you're probably going to say something in yours.
Wow. Okay.
The highlight for me in Horizon is the combat. I love how the bow feels. I love finding the weak points and all the different machines. I just think it's an absolute blast to go on a tear with that bow and kill a bunch of monster mechanic things. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I just finished up pretty much the first area, did a couple side quests, all that good stuff, and I can tell I'm definitely gonna be running around this map doing all the little collectibles and all that good stuff. It's exactly the type of game I like, Kevin.
I knew it would be. I told you when you got your PS5, I'm like, you're gonna love Horizon.
Yep.
Because I know what kind of games you enjoy, and that is up your alley. So I've been playing a few things, but I'm gonna start because a good transition. I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. So I played Horizon Zero Dawn last year, and I thought it was average. Thought it was pretty mediocre. It's so surprising to me that you're like, I love the combat in this game.
I
I
love the combat.
I cannot stand the combat
I'm
in
a sucker
Horizon.
for bows and arrows. I'm a sucker for bows and arrows. I'm just going to come out and say that. I don't care if it's first person or third person. Absolutely love bows and arrows
I
in
like
combat.
the bows. I like the bows and arrows when you're fighting human enemies. I hate fighting dinosaurs in this game. And I was like, I'm playing the sequel now. They've probably improved some stuff. They haven't changed a damn thing.
Kevin, you
This
got to use all the tools in your arsenal, though. You got that tripwire thing that you
Hate
hit
it.
the bigger
Hate it.
enemies.
I hate it.
What?
The combat in Horizon feels so bad to me. It's so clunky. The only part of Horizon I like are bow and arrows on the humans or stealth kills. I play this
Stealth kills
game.
are fun.
Stealth games are it's the only way I can get through Horizon. I cannot deal with this game. And Forbidden West has changed basically nothing about the
So,
combat.
so you're telling me when you go into a big group of watchers or something, and they're all looking around for you or for
Mhm.
anything that moves, you're just sneaking through and taking the 15 minutes to kill 4 watchers sneakily. You're not just jumping in with the bow and seeing parts fly everywhere and
No.
sparks go everywhere.
No.
Come on, that's
N-
fun.
No, I can't stand it. I will say Forbidden West has they haven't made improvements to the way it feels. Like melee combat still feels pretty bad. Aiming the bow. You have the dual sense features now, which
Yep.
adds to a little immersion. But I will say they've given you these new like upgrade things, so I can like make myself go invisible with this special like
Mm.
upgrade. That's pretty cool, pretty neat. They've added a few things here and there to make you feel more powerful. I will say the dinosaurs aren't nearly as annoying. In Zero Dawn, there are so many annoying enemies to fight, especially on the dinosaurs. Not nearly as many annoying ones.
Well, I guess I haven't gotten to that point. I think I beat that one really big one that you had to go outside of the town gates to fight at
Hmm.
nighttime when
Yep.
after it had destroyed like the village and stuff like that. That's the only like big tough enemy, and really wasn't that tough. I just threw down the tripwire, which stunned it, and then I was able to hit its weak points until it
Hmm.
died. So I haven't gotten to those really pain in the ass enemies yet in this
Yeah.
game. So we'll see.
Well, listen, if you're liking Zero Dawn's combat, you're going to like Forbidden West combat because it's almost identical.
Yeah.
What I will say is because I liked Aloy in the first game, I didn't really like the story all that much. I thought it was painfully average, pretty boring. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, you know me, I don't like the Ubisoft open world, and this is very much a Ubisoft open world formula. I am mainlining the hell out of Forbidden West. All
Yeah.
right. I have done count them as 0 side quests. I have 3 main quests left to go. We're finishing this probably after the podcast.
Wow.
I have put this game on story mode because I do not want to fight things.
That's how you play games.
I do not
Hell
want
yeah.
any challenge in Horizon. I just want to enjoy the story because unlike Zero Dawn, I actually think Forbidden West story is miles better. It's way more interesting.
Nice.
The characters, Aloy she's a badass in this game, bro. Like
Yeah.
she is not putting up with anybody's crap.
She has all the experience.
She will literally be like, give me what I want or I'm gonna murder you. And I'm like, let's go, Aloy. You are the boss right now. So
I do have to say, if I had to say one bad thing about Zero Dawn is that the facial animations are like in uncanny valley. Like there's a lot of really awkward smiles and dead stares, especially with like when Aloy was really young. That character, like facial model, like it scared the hell out of me. I don't know. It just didn't seem properly done. And you can kind of see the eyes floating in the
yeah.
skin. It's strange. And I think it's not that old of a game, so I don't think I can use
It's
that excuse.
2017. I think it's 5 years old.
Is it that old?
Yeah, because it came out right when Breath of the Wild came out.
Oh wow, maybe I can use that excuse.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable excuse. Forbidden West is gorgeous, by the way. Absolutely.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it looks nuts.
Stunning. It's gorgeous, man. Oh
Mhm.
man, watching when I'm playing the game, I'm like, this game is beautiful.
Have you seen the
Aloy
Golden Gate Bridge yet?
No, I am in San Francisco though.
Okay.
I just left there. Honestly, I might not see it because I don't know if it's along like the main quest path.
You
might
got to
have
go look
like,
at it, Kevin, at least once.
I really don't.
All right.
You I will say the game is better. I'm enjoying
Yeah.
it more than Zero Dawn. I will say that. I think it's better experience. I think it's a lot bigger, Ethan. So this is what
Is
you're
it?
probably gonna have to play like next
Yeah.
year. The map is huge, bro.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
I can't even.
Red meat to my ears, Kevin. Beautiful.
Other than that, I played the Valkyrie Elysium demo. The game came out today. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. Probably not today. It's probably a wait for a sale type game. I did like the demo. The combat is very like Devil May Cry, hack and slash combo-y. Really fun, really fun. The story though and the visuals, I'm not completely sold on those yet. It's very Norse mythology inspired, which I love. I love Norse
Ooh,
mythology.
yeah.
So that's a bonus for me. The demo gave me enough interest that I'm like, I want to play this game eventually. I just don't know if I want to drop 60 or I don't even know if it's 70. I think it's $60 on it right now. So does transfer over to the full game. So I'll have that sitting there whenever I decide to jump in. But the game I do want to talk about, the Diofield Chronicle. Okay. I know, silly name. Okay. I don't think this game is going to sell very well, especially on Xbox. But what a phenomenal experience. This is up there for my game of the year conversation.
Wow.
I absolutely love this game.
You think it knocks out Nobody Saves the World for you?
It's in the conversation. I don't know if it's I don't know. I will have to sit down when we do our game of the year episode and figure out what is it. Yeah. But this game was really, really good. I 100%ed it on Xbox. I supported the JRPG movement over on the Xbox system. So can't come at me when we don't get more Square games next year. I'm doing my part. What are you people doing? The game basically, like, you're a group of mercenaries. You save a duke. He enlists you to basically be his private army. You start recruiting people. I think that you get like 16 characters throughout the course of this game. Wow. They all fall into like 4 main classes: archer, tank, mage, and then like a assassin type character. But man, this game had some good twists in it. Had some some pretty obvious things that were going to happen. Also had some frustrating moments where characters I really liked were like, I'm out, peace.
That's what I remember when you talking to Discord.
The end of this game did not see coming at all. I was like, what just happened? I need a sequel. You have to address the ending to this game. The end cutscene was wild. But it's a real-time strategy game with 4 units, so very manageable. Has some sweet animations, like you basically get Final Fantasy summons where you like summon in a giant monster from the sky, comes in, blows everything up, does massive damage. It's 20 hours long, so a very accessible JRPG. It's not going to take you 90 hours like a Persona is. This is a very, like, you can sit down, play it.
Right.
Missions, very quick. You'll probably be spending anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes within a mission. So it's really go in, battle, get out, come back, manage your squad, get back into another mission. So very quick, lots of missions, some replay ability there. Man, this game is fantastic. I hope it sells well. I don't have high hopes because of the stupid name that they gave it. What are you doing, Square? But that's all I've been playing. JRPGs and then Horizon. So
good stuff.
Yeah, we can roll on. I know you expressed interest in Diofield. Any chance? Maybe for a sale?
Not anytime soon, Kevin.
Okay.
I will say there's too much
going
going on these next few months, and we're going to be busy.
That's true. All right. Well, we can segue time. Have a seat while I grab some books from the library and tell you this week's stories. Story number 1 is in a recent interview with Bloomberg, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella spoke about the company's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. I'm actually reading this from George Yang over IGN because Bloomberg was like, pay me or you can't read this. And I'm like, all right, Bloomberg, I guess I won't read it. But
Yep.
Nadella says, quote, of course, any acquisition of this size will go through scrutiny, but we feel very, very confident that will come out. A key concern, particularly for the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK, has been that the merger could be anti competitive for the gaming industry as a whole. However, Nadella points out that Microsoft's main competitor, Sony, has acquired multiple studios, including big ones like Bungie. Nadella continues, quote, so if this is about competition, let us have competition. Before I go over to you, I want to bring in friend of the show, Luke Lore, the insipid ghost over on the Xbox Expansion Pass. He asked over on Twitter, like you can. He says, quote, Mr. Badbit and I were chatting last night about Satya Nadella's comments on competition. We're in debate on over who it was he was speaking to. Was he aiming his comments to the regulators, gamers, Sony's, or other? Ethan, I want to throw it over to you. What do you make of the CEO's comments? Who do you think that the quote about competition is directed at?
I think that specific quote was definitely directed at Sony, but in a broader sense to the entire video game community. I think Nadella, as much as anyone else, understands that competition in an industry is going to breed innovation in technology, in development, in how these games are made, in what types of products that are put out. That's how you innovate games. If Xbox had never come to exist, then Nintendo would be doing its thing, the same thing it's done for forever, and Sony would still be doing the same thing. With competition, other companies are forced to innovate. I don't think you would have seen a PS Plus if Game Pass didn't come out. You would still have to pay $70 for every game that comes out. So I think that he, being a CEO of a major corporation, he very much understands how a capitalist market works. He welcomes competition. I think any good CEO in a modern company understands that you need to have competition, and especially at a company like Microsoft, that company absolutely understands that you need competition to innovate. Microsoft changed the game in terms of just technology overall for the entire world. And they wouldn't have gone as far if Steve Jobs didn't come out of left field and started selling the Mac OS. They wouldn't have done as good of a job if Linux didn't come out, the open source operating system. You absolutely need different forces pulling in the market in order to actually run a company effectively. And I think him saying that, yes, it is directed at Sony because that's the specific thing he's talking about, but that's his CEO brain saying, yes, bring it on, bring on the competition. We want it because it makes us better here at Xbox, and it makes the entire industry better for gamers and executives and employees and everyone else.
That's interesting. I don't think we're going to be able to answer Luke's question here because I don't think his comment was directed at Sony. I think his comment
Really?
was directed at the CMA over in the UK, the Competition and Markets Authority. I The way he phrased it, he says, so if it's about competition, let us have competition, because for them, their whole thing is we think it's anti-competitive. Well,
Right.
he's trying to say it's not anti-competitive. You're stopping us from having competition. You're basically shutting it down before it could start, because Xbox last generation, as we all know, was not competitive. They got outsold 2-1 by all, probably more, to be honest, at least 2-1, Xbox
Right.
One to PS4. So this is their way. And yes, you can say whatever you want. Should Xbox be buying studios and publishers to become more competitive? Should they have a grassroots build them from the ground up initiative? That is besides the point. This is like you said, capitalist society. In capitalism, one of the ways you can get ahead is by buying other companies to make your company more attractive. That
Right.
is a founding principle, and that's what Microsoft is trying to do. I do think there is some irony in his statement, though, considering that it is Microsoft, and what they've done in the tech field, the PC field, about basically killing a lot of their competition. It is kind of ironic where they're begging to be competitive in this specific space. I know some people can say, well, their Xbox isn't. He's speaking for the Xbox division, but it all falls under the Microsoft umbrella, right? Like
Yeah.
we have to, we can't start being like, oh well, Xbox needs this, and that's not Microsoft. Like, they are one and the
Right.
same at the end of the day. It's funny that he said it. I do agree with him though. Like, we Xbox is going to do what they're going to do. They have studios that they're building up. They just bought like Double Fine, Ninja Theory. They're going to influx them with a bunch of cash and try to build those for their
Mhm.
future. But they also recognize that mergers and acquisitions is important, for especially in the gaming industry. We're seeing tons of consolidation. I think this comment was directly at the UK, being like, "Let us have the competition. Don't don't try to shut us down because you're afraid that it's going to hurt Sony's number one position," which is kind of what their comments are in line with. Like,
I don't know. I don't see Nadella in his capacity as Microsoft CEO shooting across the bow of any sort of regulator while they're in the midst of investigating an acquisition that they're currently going through. As we've talked about it at length before, that Phil Spencer, Ryan, that all of them go through multiple channels to filter their words out and release very coordinated PR statements. And nobody's better in the game at coordinated PR statements than CEOs and these big executives and
mhm.
boards of directors. Nadella knows what he's saying. He knows what he's doing. And I don't think he would do anything to show that he's, trying to insult a certain regulator or anything. I just don't see him doing that. You could chalk it up to maybe a Freudian slip. He's just saying what he means. But in my opinion, I really do think he was just saying, it's competition, bring it on. I think that's been the attitude of Xbox really since its founding, has been like, we know we're the underdogs. Just bring
Mhm.
on the competition. We'll fight you tooth and nail to come out on top.
At the end of the day, I don't really think it matters who he was talking to. It's kind of
Right.
it could be both. It could be one or the other. I
Yeah.
think the message is the same though. Like, we're trying to be competitive in the gaming space. Do not stop this, because
Right.
that is the anti-competitive thing. Like, you're shutting us down from being competitive because PlayStation has such a stranglehold in this area. If you want to count Nintendo, they don't have a stranglehold. But when we talk about, we always talk about Xbox versus PlayStation and not PlayStation versus Nintendo, because Nintendo really is this nebulous that they're doing their own
It's
thing,
yeah,
having
an
crazy success
anomaly.
over, yeah, an anomaly. They're over there. Nobody knows what they're going to do. They could put out the Wii U 2 next year and
Yeah, make
sell
billions.
7 million. Nobody knows. It's a whole thing. So
And look,
we're
it's no secret that Xbox has been for pretty much its entire history number 3 in
mhm.
terms of game console video games, right? They've always been number 3. They are still number 3 in terms of sales, revenue generated, etc., right? And I think this is just his frustration showing, saying, we are the underdogs here. I know we're attached to Microsoft. I know we're in the game of operating systems and we dominate that market, but this is Xbox we're talking about, right? They're number 3. They're the underdogs. We should be allowed to compete with these bigger guys. And PlayStation, they're not going anywhere. Activision Blizzard is going to get bought, and PlayStation and Nintendo are still going to make crap load of money, and they're probably still going to be Xbox and console sales moving forward, probably into the next generation even.
Probably. I mean, I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Listen, it's hard to imagine a world where Nintendo puts out the Switch 2 and it doesn't sell a
Yeah,
hundred plus million. Like,
exactly.
I'm I'm gonna buy it. Like, I don't even play Switch that much.
I will buy it.
It's gonna buy though.
I bought the
Yeah,
Switch OLED and I played probably like 4 games on
bro, what are
it.
you doing?
It looks great, Kevin.
Oh my
It'll get
god.
to one of our viewer questions later on. Yeah, we'll see.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. Well,
Yep.
Uh, listen, Happy Cloud Gamer brought it up in the chat, but he said Sony's not why regulators are looking into the deal. We know that they
Right.
have 100% right to look into the deal. Like, this is
Yeah.
completely expected. I just think the comments that's come out back and forth teams every week now are interesting to see, kind of the two big companies spitting back and
It's
forth.
always
So
fun to watch drama.
always fun. We can move on to story number 2, though, and this is a little long one, so stay with me here, because Team Ninja has been talking about Xbox. This comes from Andy Robinson over at Video Game Chronicle, who, in a recent interview with Team Ninja, the team currently developing day one Game Pass title Wo Long Fallen Dynasty and 2024 PlayStation exclusive Rise of the Ronin, he sat down with director Fumihiko Yasuda to ask a few questions about Xbox. So, first, he was asked if Wolong being on Game Pass changes their thinking as a creator and said, quote, "We're very happy that so many players are going to have the chance to try out a Team Ninja title potentially for the first time. But just because it's on Game Pass, we haven't gone and changed XYZ." He also added that putting the game in Game Pass can boost the online player base. He was then asked, quote, "Spinning off of that, Xbox seems to be doing a bit better than expected in your home country of Japan compared to its predecessor. Has that surprised you?" Yasuda states that they feel a bigger presence for the Xbox platform in Japan and credits Game Pass with helping people get acquainted with the Xbox platform. Finally, Yasuda's asked if his previous games, Neo 1 and 2, could find their way to Xbox in the future, or if Sony's publishing involvement ruled that out. And he states, quote, "Currently, there's not really too much of a possibility of having Neo on Xbox, but we do hope Xbox fans enjoy Wolong and look forward to that game coming out. That's probably all we can say on that at the moment." Ethan, Team Ninja, spitting some things here about
Yeah.
Xbox over in Japan. What are you feeling?
I mean, if you told me this was a PR email straight from Xbox to send out to developers, I would have believed you. This hits all the checks in the check boxes for what we've been talking about in what Game Pass brings to developers. I mean, just increasing player base, increasing how many people are playing your game. These are all things that we've talked about since Game Pass came out, and I think it's really cool to hear from developers and directors and people at these studios. To actually hear it from their mouth, what the benefits of Game Pass brings to their games. And, with more developers like this talking like this, I'm hoping that it encourages more people to come to the platform. And in terms of
Mhm.
the fourth comment that you talked about with Neo 1 and 2, I think that was a roundabout way of saying we'll see how popular Wolong is. And then if we see there's a big market for it and people really want it, then okay, we can port those over to Xbox.
That's interesting that you took that approach because for me, I read it as there's no chance Neo comes because of Sony's involvement,
Really?
and I probably shouldn't even be talking about this. But I like your interpretation because it does get me thinking about a similar game like Death Stranding. So Death Stranding was published on PlayStation by Sony. Like they helped Kojima get it on
Right.
PlayStation, similar to what Team Neo or Team Ninja and Neo have done. So PlayStation published it on PlayStation platforms. That doesn't exclude it from being published elsewhere by someone else, though. Like we see 505 Games did Death Stranding on PC.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can do it on Xbox. It remains to be seen, but it does open the possibility that, like, hey, maybe just because it's published by someone one location doesn't limit it elsewhere in the future. So it could be a time thing. Maybe Neo 1 and 2 could come in the future.
And I guess sort of respond to that, and it's kind of going against my point a little bit, but it came to my head when you were talking. I
Mm,
would imagine Kojima has a lot more pull and say over where his
true.
games go than Team Ninja, because I guarantee you, if Kojima went to Sony and said, I want to put my game on Xbox, I want to put this game on Xbox, whatever game may it be, one of the Metal Gear Solids that never came over, whatever. Uh, PlayStation would probably be like, okay, you can do that, Kojima. We're not going to stop you because
Mhm.
that relationship is so strong. And Kojima has generated so many fans for their platform and such a big player base that Team Ninja has too, but not to the extent that Kojima did.
Yeah.
So maybe Team Ninja doesn't have that sort of pull that he has. But again, I still think that this is a roundabout way of saying we're going to see. We're testing the waters with Wolong here.
Hmm. Sam disagrees. He says, "Nah, Neo ain't coming." Similar to Bloodborne in my mind, which fair could
Fair.
very well be the case. That was my initial reaction. All right, that's what I said.
I'm so it's difficult for me to come to absolutes with games staying on certain platforms and stuff because just the environment that we're in right now in gaming is absolutely nuts and things are shifting all the time. So for me, anything's possible.
Mm. Well, speaking on his other comments, though, Ethan,
Yeah.
it's your comment about it being a PR email is hilarious because I was like, "Yo, Phil Spencer must have been so happy if he read
Was
this
reading this
because
like, yeah.
this is exactly what we tell everyone
I
that
mean, is this not what we say every time we bring up any Game
it
Pass
is."
news about this developer said this, but this is line by line exactly what we all think that Game Pass brings to developers. It's good to see.
It leads me to wonder why people are still so worried about Game Pass, especially because the constant
Right.
argument here is it's not supporting the devs. It's not good for developers. And I
That's not what they're saying.
time and time again, they're disagreeing with that. They're saying we're getting a money from Microsoft to put our game there.
Yeah.
It's opening our game up to a larger player base than could probably ever be expected normally, especially for some of these smaller titles.
Yeah.
And then it's also like, hey, it's helping the console grow in Japan, which is what Phil Spencer's been saying.
Right.
Like we just watched Tokyo Game Show, and he was all raving about Series S, Game
Game
Pass, X
Pass.
Cloud, like
Yeah.
building that
Accessibility.
market. It's is what they've been preaching, and the constant backing from Japanese developers. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know how we can argue with it anymore at this
And I
point.
do have to point out that there has been some instances where developers have come out and said they didn't like the Game Pass experience, and that's fine. It's not going to be for everybody, but it seems to me from the outside looking in that the vast majority of developers are enjoying this service and benefiting from it greatly.
Yeah, I think I can't remember. Was People Can Fly? Did they say or
I
no?
can't
They had.
remember what game it was. I
I can't
remember that
remember.
it
Yeah, yeah.
happened though.
I'm sure some people have been like, man, I wish we didn't put it on Game Pass because
Right.
maybe their sales exploded on another platform and they could have like
Exactly. Yeah.
reaped more benefits if they just did. But it was again, we've heard about this from multiple developers now, and
Hmm.
it's awesome to see. Wolong, I think it's going to be a big game for Game. I think it's a huge get. The
Yeah.
way people are talking about it. Did you play the demo?
I played through like the little tutorial era, but it kept crashing on me.
Oh,
There
it's
was a
still
lot of
not fixed.
issues. Well, I haven't played it since that
Okay.
first day. I mean, if it's going to crash on me 3 times in a row, then I'm done. It's going to be on Game Pass, so it's not like I'm looking if I need to buy it or not. I'm just going to download it and play it when it comes to Game Pass, so I'm not too worried. But from what I did play, really exciting. A lot of good
Ooh.
stuff in that game. Fast-paced, Souls-like combat. It really interested me.
Have you played Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah, a little bit. I played all three, but I've never beaten any of them. But I
How
played through.
was it compared to Ninja Gaiden?
I mean, better. I mean, it's just
Better.
it's a newer, more exciting. I didn't.
Okay, okay. But
I
I meant
didn't.
like fast wise. Like, is it slower than Ninja Gaiden? Yeah.
I would say it's more akin to like a Dynasty Warrior speed of combat.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be as hack and slash as Dynasty Warriors. Obviously,
Hmm.
there's definitely going to be less enemies because enemies are more powerful in this game. It being sort of like a Souls-like game, but it definitely has that same energy of a Dynasty Warriors type game. That I really enjoy. I love Dynasty Warriors, so that combat really excited me.
Awesome. Yeah, I think January is when
Yep.
Wolong's coming out. So everyone stay tuned for that. But speaking of release dates, we've had some release date changes. So the first one is a good one. Scorn announced today that the puzzle horror game coming to Xbox and Game Pass officially has a new release date, originally scheduled for October 21st. The game will now release a week earlier on October 14th.
Yeah. No,
Woo!
okay. I will say this because I do want to play Scorn, right? And I'm really glad that it got itself out of that third week of October. What is it? The fourth week of October? One of those weeks. That week where we know every damn game in the world is coming out in the same week. We got big Nintendo projects coming out, Mario and Rabbids. We got Gotham Knights coming out. A
Mhm.
Plague Tale is coming out a couple
Modern
days
Warfare
before that.
2
Modern
is
Warfare
coming.
2. And then just a week later, we have the Resident Evil Village DLC dropping. So there's way too much going on at the end of October to be able to play everything. So moving Scorn out of that just pit, I think, is a really good move by them because they understand that if gamers are putting games on the chopping block to play other things, Scorn's probably going to be on the chopping block if you
Mhm.
compare it to these huge AAA titles. So that's really smart by them. And then also, I think that shows how confident they are in that their game is finished and ready to go. You don't see developers move up dates very often anymore, and so it's a really nice thing to see when they do that because you're like, okay, they're confident that they've tightened this game up and it's ready to go. So I'm
For sure.
happy I get to play Scorn. I don't think it's going to be that long of a game, so it
It's
sounds like
not.
something. Yeah, it sounds like something I'm going to beat through before Plague Tale comes out 4 days after.
I was gonna say, I think the move is good for them because, as you said, it does get them out of that range. But also, the game is probably a weekend game. To be honest, I
Yeah,
believe they said it's about maybe 6 to 8 hour range. So it is one of those shorter experiences where you can probably knock it out in 2 or 3 sittings.
yeah,
and it comes out Friday. So you have the weekend, and then you have a few more cushiony days to finish it before the big releases start hitting. Sean Capri, friend of the show in the chat, says, I can't wait for this game. So you're not the only one. It still is scheduled to pre-install on my Xbox. The preview coverage did put me off a little bit. It looked a little more puzzly than I wanted it to.
It definitely lowered it a little bit, but I'm still excited for it.
I'll give it a because, well, depending on what I'm playing on the 14th, we'll see if I give it a shot. It's gonna stay installed. I'll download it, and when we get that lull, like a 6 to 8 hour game is not very long. I can knock that out pretty quick. So
yeah.
Well, it's good news for them. I think that's a great decision. More games need to change their release dates based on what's around them. I think that's something the industry needs to adapt. But a game that also changed their release date, Ethan, Skull and Bones, has been delayed for the 8th time. I believe it's been delayed. It's been delayed till March 2023.
So I remember seeing they did that whole Ubisoft Forward centered around it, and they showed off a ton of gameplay. And I remember I felt like I was in a fever dream, because when I went on Twitter and when I saw other people from the community, and this isn't to bash anybody, I'm just saying in general, there was a lot of people excited for this game. I'm a Ubisoft super fan. I played almost every single Ubisoft game that's come out in the last 15 years, people. This game looked like hot trash. It looked like a complete like reduction from what Assassin's Creed 4 was. It took everything that was great about Assassin's Creed 4 and turned it into a mobile app, basically. I never understood the hype behind this game. It looks bad. I guarantee you it feels bad. I'm seeing ships do straight up 90-degree drifts, and there's not even wave ripples. If you're going to want a pirate sim, go play Sea of Thieves. It's pretty much the perfect pirate sim. Okay, I understand some people are adverse to the PvP aspect of it. I get that. Maybe this is going to be the game for you so you can actually do some PvE pirate action. That's great. I'm happy for you. But this game just did not look good. It didn't look finished. I remember they had that one scene where the boat pulled up next to the island, and you had to play a little mini game to cut down a tree. I'm like, this is an iPad game. I never understood the hype behind this game. It's been in dev hell for so long. It's had to switch. It's had to go through so many different revisions and so many different employee turnovers. I just don't think it's I think it's something Ubisoft just wants to get off its chest at this point, get it out there so it's dead on arrival, and then move on to their projects.
Well, then why would they delay it again? Why don't they just put it out?
I don't know. It's got to be bad. It's got to be that bad that they have to delay it, because I guarantee you at this point, everybody at Ubisoft is like, my God, can we just get over Skull and Bones? The whole trend of pirate games has been long gone. This game was supposed to come out back when that was when that trend was white hot, and people aren't going to be so receptive to this, I don't think. So I hope to God that this delay fixes a lot of stuff. I hope to God that they fix a lot of the issues that I saw. I just don't trust that that's going to happen. So,
I do have a correction. Sean let me know in the chat. It's only been delayed 5 times, not 8.
5.
I overestimated.
That makes it so much better.
That's my bad. Mel in the chat kind of backs up your comment with, man, I wonder what the Xbox will be called when Skull and Bones comes out. So, yes, it's been delayed numerous times. It's kind of a meme at this point for sure. I saw people being like, oh man, I hope they add, getting off your ship and all this like extra stuff. And I was like, like, you understand that would take a complete rework of the entire game. Like they're not going to be able to add everything that you want in these months. It's going to be basically what's been already shown. Yeah. Maybe they'll polish it a little more. I don't expect major changes though. And if you are, like, I don't know what to tell you. It's completely unreasonable to think that in just a few months the game is going to shape up and be this magical, like, oh my God, this is what we wanted. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
If you're looking forward to it, great. I never want to poop on anyone's excitement. If this is something you want, go for it. I don't know what people are seeing in the game personally, but that's me. So March, you can look forward to Skull and Bones. From one thing that might be dying to a thing that is dying. Rest in peace, Stadia. Google announced today that Stadia is officially shutting down on January 18th, 2023. Google says that it will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchased through the Google Store, as well as games and add on content purchased from the Stadia Store. Those refunds are expected to be completed in mid January. And apparently, Phil Harrison told the Stadia team this moments before it was announced to the public, continuing, their complete utter mess up of Google Stadia. So, Ethan, we've long talked about the downfall of Google
Yeah.
Stadia. What are your feelings now that it's officially going away?
Rip Bozo. No, I'm just kidding. In reality, it is sad to see a huge project tank like this because there's going to be a lot of people that lose their jobs over this. There's going to be a lot of great developers that worked really hard to make that platform manageable and serviceable, that are no longer going to get to see their games on there. There's a lot of games that were made specifically for Stadia, that are going to completely lose any help. So it's sad to see, but at the same time, it's been a long time coming. I think this is another example of a large corporation that doesn't really have any experience in gaming, seeing how
Hmm.
much money is being made in the video game market and saying, I want a piece of that pie, and then just having no clue what to do with it. And I don't think this is a hit towards cloud gaming. I've seen that people saying, "Oh, this is a big blow to cloud game." No, it's not. There's plenty of people leading the charge in cloud gaming. Sony's doing a bunch of stuff with cloud. Xbox, of course, is probably leading the charge in cloud gaming. There's so many different handhelds coming out with cloud gaming.
Hmm.
I don't think this was the service that was going to revolutionize the gaming industry. It just wasn't. I think we have to wait a little longer for that.
So your comment about like there's games announced for Stadia. I know Mike Rose from No More Robots said they have a game coming
Mm,
out on Stadia, and he's now worried that they're not going to get paid for it because it is shutting down, which
exactly.
is fair. I don't know other developer situations, but it's certainly a fair concern that they've probably signed agreements for games to come to
Yep.
Stadia. Like the Quarry was originally a Stadia game,
Yeah.
and they backed out of that. So I think the writing's been on the wall for a long time. When
Yeah.
Stadia was first announced, it was something like, okay, it sounded pretty good. Like I was like, okay, this is a neat novel idea.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting because cloud wasn't something that was super like explored. XCloud hadn't quite blown up the way it has since then, where it was kind of in its infancy. And
Right.
now they've taken it like you can play on your PC, console, phone, this new Logitech streaming device. Like xCloud is kind of your TV soon. Like it's kind of blown up, and Xbox has really taken the lead, and it's clearly miles ahead of everyone else in the cloud space. And Google Stadia, on the other hand, kind of saw, the closer we got to launch, they were cutting certain features and cutting things that were promised. And then the games catalog came out. It wasn't anything stellar. It worked for so good for some people, didn't work great for others. They really dropped the ball. They called it a beta. Nothing
Right.
really got better. And then they shut down their games division. As we know, they kind of were like, okay, we're only going to take third party games onto the service. It's been coming. It's sad to see people. Hopefully, they don't lose their jobs. Maybe they can be shifted to other places within Google, or easily go to, maybe pick up somewhere else in the game sphere. But
Right.
it is sad to see, but I don't think it's surprising because Google has not done well. And this, if anything, is further backing of what I say is I don't want other tech giants to enter the gaming industry simply to try to make money because they
Right.
have no idea what they're doing. Amazon Luna, I don't hear anyone talk about it. I'm sure it works good, but Amazon has enough money where, I mean, Google does too, but Amazon is one that I'd be worried about. Apple for sure. Those tech
Yeah.
giants that see they can make some money here don't understand the space and then just try to force their way in. It's not going to work. And I think Google Stadia has proven that.
Yeah. And then I do want to highlight one, I guess, good thing out of this in that I'm really surprised that Google came out and said, we're going to refund all your hardware and software purchases. That's kind of wild. That's not something you see often in gaming. You get live service games that release. You have to pay $70 for them, and then they bomb, and then they do 1 or 2 seasons, and it goes
I
away.
I
Babylon's
don't
Fall
I would say I don't
is
see Square Enix refunding Babylon's Fall.
they don't refund it, and now people are getting it for free at GameStop. They're just giving it away for free at this point because they have a tag on it saying "Field Destroy" because nobody wants the game. So really good PR move by Google, and I think just a really good humane move by Google. I mean, I think they understood, like, people really invested in this product that we did, and
Yeah.
we're
Our
shutting them out of it.
our listener, Mostly Martinez, shout out Mostly Martinez. He likes Stadia. He is
Yeah.
since day one. I think he's been a pro Stadia guy. I know he's probably upset about it, but
And I'm sure it worked great for what you wanted for a cloud gaming service. I can't imagine anyone better doing a cloud-based service than Google. I mean, their engineers are top of the line over at that company at Alphabet. But it's just not a market that is big enough to sustain profits like that Google wants to see.
Mhm. And I don't think this is a knock against cloud, as you were saying. Like xCloud, I think is doing well and proving that this can be a
Right.
feature. Basing your whole gaming business around it, I think, is still a bad idea.
Yeah. And then really quick, Mel Held in the chat said Stadia was definitely better than xCloud at the launch. I would agree with that. xCloud at launch was incredibly janky. I mean, you could barely move through games, even simple little games like I guess like Animal Crossing type games. You could hardly play because the latency was so bad. You were constantly getting cut out. I never played Stadia, but I can imagine that Stadia and Luna working a lot better than what xCloud was back in the day. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all we have for the news, but we have tons of listener
a
questions
lot. This
this
is gonna
week.
be fun. Yeah.
Tons of listener questions. So we can start with Taylor, aka TPR, aka our No Limits host, who actually has a comment first. And it's funny that Sean is in the chat because
Sean, we're about to get called out
it's
here.
directed at him and me. He says, you both and Sean keep pronouncing Metal Hellsinger wrong. It's Hellsinger, not Hellslinger.
To defend myself and Sean Capri. Okay.
Oh, not me though. Thank you.
Oh, were you saying Hellslinger too? I don't remember.
Apparently, I don't remember.
Apparently, I don't want to defend you, Kevin. It's just me and Sean here in this fight. Okay. When I Googled, because I have to trust but verify, right? Like, am I really wrong on that? Like, I couldn't imagine in my mind that it was Hellsinger. I Googled Metal Hellsinger, like the proper name, like Taylor said, and I went to YouTube to check out all the different content creators covering the game. And apparently it's a 50-50 split on what this name is. Okay. It is Metal Hellsinger. Like, that is the proper terminology. I Googled it. I looked it up. But on YouTube specifically, looking at the community, the gaming community, we're at a 50-50 split on what this name is. It's just kind of a funny thing that our brains apparently do. I think Hellslinger just rolls off the tongue a little better. And so people just automatically went to that. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think it's a missed opportunity by the developers. They should have said Hellslinger.
It'll always be Hellslinger to me.
Yeah, it will be. Absolutely. Just like the Bernstein Bears.
The Berenstein Bears. Sean, well, I'll be damned.
Yep. Son of a gun.
Now, on to his questions. He says, I think the Xbox One X is the best looking console of all time. Either one of you concur. If not, what trumps it? I don't know if I agree with that. I didn't really like the look of the Xbox One generation, to be honest.
I will say I have an Xbox One X. I enjoy the look of it. I think it's a really sleek looking console. I remember getting it for the first time in 2020 and being like, damn, this Xbox really went all out. But there are a few consoles that I would argue look prettier, and I own them, and that's the Xbox 360 Elite, which is the black 360. It has that nice shiny glow to it as long as I dust it properly, which I haven't, so it's looking a little dusty right now. Absolutely beautiful looking console. The Switch OLED too, I really enjoy for my setup because pretty much my whole setup is black. I got a black soundbar, the black 360, the black Xbox One, the black Series X, my TV's black, everything's black, but I just get that little splash of white and black right in the corner where my OLED sits, and it's really, really pretty. So I really like how the OLED looks. So I think I would put the 360 Elite and the OLED over the Xbox One X. Series X looks cool too. I'm not gonna lie. I really like how the Series. It's a block, but it's a block. It's a monolith.
It's not the PS5. Like
yeah.
In terms of best looking consoles, my mind immediately goes to the GameCube. I know you can laugh at me all you want. I love the lunchbox design.
It's great.
It's made to be like picked out, taken to your friend's house.
It's so cute.
I think it's a great looking
and
machine.
The little mini it's the cutest thing in the world, Kevin.
Hot take here. The PS4 Spider-Man edition is a phenomenal
Is
looking
that cheating
console.
though? Doing
I don't
special
know,
edition
man. I don't
consoles,
know, but my
Kevin?
my brother had it in our living room and it looks so good. I just
Because I
gotta
mean, if
say,
you're gonna ask that, I mean, the Cyberpunk 2077 Xbox One
it's
looked better.
ugly. It's
What?
ugly.
We're about to fight here, Kevin, live.
No, like it. Let's move on to his next question because he
Yeah,
asked multiple. Given the recent Elite controller news about adjusting your jewel's appearance, what is the ideal light color for your jewel? I haven't changed mine, but I choose red always, red and black.
really,
Yeah,
red on the black controller. I
yeah.
don't know. I just prefer it white. Actually, I think it looks
I'm gonna
fine,
leave mine.
just
I don't
general.
care enough.
But if I had to change it to a different color, I'd probably put it to Xbox green, like the background we have here for the show. I think that would be a proper color for
Mhm.
it.
Cool, cool, cool. Final question for him. What Xbox franchise would you most love to get a line of comics? Could be one that had comics before, but you've been itching for new ones or an IP that never had them. Mm,
I got one.
yeah, go for it.
It's gonna be Wolfenstein. And I know Wolfenstein has had a line of comics before. I haven't read them, but I looked up some of the art, and it's exactly what I wanted. It is a perfect game that can translate into a comic book. I mean, Blazkowicz is just a great comic book character. It's going to be full of explosions and robots and giant Nazi super soldiers that he can rip in half. I mean, it's just comic book red meat to me. There's going to be lots of kapows and kablams and crazy visuals and colors going around. And from what I saw from the artwork, it's exactly how I described. It looks really cool. And I actually kind of want to pick up some of those comics now that I know that they exist. So Wolfenstein definitely for me is something that could be great in comic book form.
Battle Toads.
Battletoads, come on, be
They're
serious.
they're hilarious, bro. You ever play the game? They're hilarious.
No, I
That'd be
haven't played.
great. That'd be a great comic series. I don't know if that's a thing, but like Battletoads would actually be a very funny like comic strip to read.
You just want it to be like a new version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but with
Yeah,
Battletoads.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
That would be cool.
We can move on to Anna Hudak, who says, my questions are, with the release of the Last of Us TV show trailer, which Xbox property do you think is best suited to tell a truly gripping story as a show? One that would be acclaimed by most, as we're all predicting the Last of Us show will be. Is it the upcoming Fallout show or something that hasn't been announced? Speaking of TV shows, which show, past or present, would you want to see be turned into a video game? So kind of asking us the reverse of
Yeah.
both. So do you have one?
Yes, I have
Okay.
both. I have both
right.
answers. And I thought about this for a little bit. And I think before the Halo series, my first answer would have been Halo. And we got the Halo TV show. Say what you will about it. I enjoyed it. I am really excited for the Fallout show, but I think the game that really deserves either a movie or a TV adaptation is Gears of War. I think that is a perfect video game to translate onto the screen. I think it would appeal to a casual audience because I mean it has just those traditional themes of war, of loss, of there's battle. I mean, it's just a great video game. It's full of drama. It's full of great characters, and I was looking at different actors even of who could play like Marcus Phoenix, and everything I've
Batista.
seen online is Dave Bautista, and I looked
Sure.
at it and I'm like, that is actually perfect.
Mhm.
And Dave Bautista himself even said he wanted to do a Gears of War TV show. He was on Twitter saying, "Let's make it happen. I want to be Marcus Phoenix." So that got me really hyped. Hopefully, I can't imagine that's a project that's never going to become a TV show or a movie. That I mean, it's right there. It's right for the pickings. Xbox could do it, make a lot of money on it. I would be excited for that. And then for a show that I'd want to be turned into a game is a show called Person of Interest.
Ooh, I know that show.
You know that show. So for those of you that don't know the show, it's basically about a scientist who works for the government and creates this AI that shoots out numbers, and then you use those numbers to find out what person they're referring to, and that's the person that could either be a victim of a crime or it could be someone who commits a crime. Usually it has to deal with big national security issues like bombings, terrorist attacks, etc. I'm thinking of a game that's sort of in the way of like a mix between the Saboteur and LA Noir in a way, where you have your home base and you have the scientists there that you can talk to, and you can go to the machine, and there's mainline stories, and then there's two NYPD detectives that the main character actually works with to try and stay a little legal during the show when he's going out hunting for these bad guys. And I think you could do a lot of great side quests with those characters, and each character could kind of have their own line of storytelling. I just think it'd be a great little game. Set it in Manhattan, which is where the show takes place in the heart of New York City. I think you'd have a great game on your hands.
We have the same answer for the first one because I was
Gears,
thinking,
yeah.
I was thinking Gears of War 2. And
Yeah.
then for a TV show that I wanted to be turned into a video game, I was gonna say Teen Titans, but apparently that's already a thing back in the PlayStation 2. Wasn't
Yep.
aware of that. So I don't watch enough TV to like have an answer for a TV show that should be turned into a video game. Like, I don't know. Give me a Courage the Cowardly Dog game platformer for all I care.
I
Like,
bet you there already is one.
I
Nickelodeon was pumping out video games
probably
back in the day, Kevin.
probably, but I don't watch enough TV to answer that one. But Gears of War for sure would be. I want to see live action Dom die. All right, spoilers for Gears of
Live
War
action Dom.
2 or whatever. If you haven't played Gears of War 2 yet, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
It's
come
been
on.
like 20 years,
It's on
okay,
Game Pass. All of them are.
we can go to Rusty Co, who says,
Mm.
question 1, do you think that the Xbox should push more colorways of the Series X like Sony did with the PS5? I think it means like the face plates and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I want a white Series X.
This question's weird because the PS5, you can take those side plates off and replace them. Sony could easily market tons of different varieties of those and sell them for cheap. Xbox, you can't really put plates on it, right? It's not really something that you could attach a plate on it without it looking kind of ugly, kind of bulky, and being a pain to actually install. I think if anything, skins, but even that's kind of a pain to install. If you guys have ever done skins on, like, I know my wife has one for the Switch Lite, and it actually turned out really good, but it was a pain to get on. So I don't really think there's any way for Xbox to do that other than manufacture consoles in different colors, which I don't know, in this environment especially, I don't think that's a great idea because there's still people that are having difficulty finding a Series X, maybe not a Series S at this point, but a Series X specifically. What happens when you have that gamer that's a potential $550 sale and he goes and he just wants a regular Series X so he can play his games, and the only one left is an ugly yellow one, Kevin, and he doesn't want a yellow one for his entertainment center. So I don't think having the special colors, unless they can set up a system where it's made to order, which I don't think they're in the position to do a made to order system right now, like they do with the controllers and their, what is it called? Where you can go
The
on
design lab.
the design labs. I don't think that's something that's feasible for the consoles yet, maybe later in the life cycle. But yeah, I don't think they should be playing around with colors right now.
I think we should revert. I think they should do a black Series S and a white Series X. Just
That's
make those
more realistic.
Just flip them. All right. Get some people out the door with those, and then we can talk about other ones. But
Yeah.
No, 100%. They need to do more, even if it's just like skins. But the PS5 is definitely set up way better to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Question 2, would special editions work more for the Series S or the Series X? We've had lots of special editions of the Series X, Cyberpunk, Halo, Back for Blood, and they just don't sell units. Maybe the Series S would be better for promotional special editions. Was there a Back for Blood Series X?
I didn't know. Maybe
they're always giving away special editions on Twitter.
In terms of I don't know if I agree that they don't sell units, because I'm pretty sure every single unit ever manufactured
Halo
has been
and
bought,
Cyberpunk,
especially Halo. And Cyberpunk was an Xbox One special edition, I believe, and maybe that's what Rossico's referring to. But that was at the end of the Xbox One's life cycle, and the Series X was just about to come out. So I don't know many people that were trying to buy special edition consoles of a generation that was about to be phased out. But I love special edition consoles. I think they look really cool. It's not my market. I think it's very much a luxury item. I'm a collector of many things, but $550 pieces of hardware are not something I'm looking to collect, and I don't think many gamers are. I love seeing giveaways for them, and I love to enter them and never win them. But I don't think Xbox should be shooting out a crazy amount of special edition consoles unless it's something for like something very special, like a Gears of War 6 or a Halo Infinite, like we saw, or any other really big first party release. I'd love to see a Starfield special edition console. I think that's something worth making, but pick and choose your battles. Don't just make special editions for everything.
I was gonna say, no, I agree with you. We don't need the Twitter giveaways are fine. We don't need more special editions. I'm gonna jump to this one. How does the Xbox fit in the modern entertainment center? Should it use as a media consumption device or other options such as Chromecast better suited? I'm very much of the opinion, use your console for games, use other things for media apps. I'm very much
See,
in that
I
line.
am completely opposite of you in the fact that I use my Xbox for everything. If my PlayStation isn't on and I'm actively playing it, my Xbox is on and I'm doing something on. I have every streaming service downloaded. I have MLB at Bat downloaded. You can get cable TV streaming services on it, and then what I like about it is that if I'm done watching a show, I can just back out, jump right into a quick resume game, and I can be gaming in seconds. I think that's the best thing. And then also for me personally, I have a Roku, and I think it's just because my TV's getting a little old, but it's kind of chugging a little bit. The Roku apps, honestly, for a lot of streaming services, aren't the best,
That's not you,
especially
bro. That's Roku. Mine's
it's
doing the
just
same
Roku.
thing.
Okay.
Mine just
Yeah.
Netflix just crashes randomly.
Yep.
Like,
And
yeah, it
if you
sucks.
ever use the Roku Crunchyroll app, God forbid you try and watch a show because it'll
Don't
log
even
you
bug.
out every time, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a pain in the butt, and it freezes, and it falls apart.
Thank you.
Xbox apps, the streaming apps on Xbox, in my experience, have all been flawless almost. I mean, it runs so smoothly, especially when you don't have a ton of other apps open and you actually close out things and take care of it like I do. It really runs great. And then having the Xbox controller as the remote to be able to type stuff in, I'm way faster than I am with a traditional remote control. So for me, my Xbox is absolutely my multimedia entertainment center. It's everything to me. So I think it fits perfectly. And I know the PS5 can do the same damn thing. I have a couple apps downloaded on it, but I'll probably never use it.
Mm.
But yeah.
Ghostly March says, I've still never used Quick Resume. I don't have
Great.
any of these issues with Roku.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
Mine's built into my TV, so I don't
so is
know if that.
mine. So is
Okay,
mine.
so that might be the issue because I know you can get the Roku boxes. I know that's what my
I'm pretty
in-laws
sure
have.
his are built into the TV too.
Oh, then I don't know. It
I don't
just
know what's
must
going
be
on
my
here.
TV getting a little old. It's a couple years old.
Yeah. All right. 3 more questions. How would you feel about id Software taking over Halo?
Um,
It's a no for me, dog. Let them stay on Doom, and we don't need another studio. We just need to fix 343 because the
yeah,
gameplay is not the issue.
right. Yeah, and I would agree with that because I think switching it over to id Software would be such kind of a different Halo because id Software has a very specific type of first person shooter that they make that's
Mhm.
very different from Halo. I don't think it would translate well into Halo, so then you would be forcing id Software to either A, go with their traditional way of doing things like Doom Eternal and it wouldn't feel right in the hands of Halo players, or B, force them to switch to making a first person shooter in the style of Bungie or Halo or Bungie or 343. And that probably wouldn't make a great product because you're asking them to do something completely different. And then the whole thing of engines, because id Software uses the id engine, the id 5, I think, is the most common engine that they use. I think they're up to id 7 right now, but most of their bigger games have the id 5 engine, and you would have to take Halo completely out of the slip space engine. So I think there'd just be way too many logistical nightmares with it. It would be weird for this development studio to take over Halo. I think 343 just needs to be fixed because it's clear they can make a good Halo game. They just aren't following through with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Last question from Rusty says, "What are your thoughts on the teased dashboard redesign?"
Great. Get those boxes out of my face. I want to see my dynamic background. Let me
Oh, have you
make
seen?
them.
No, have you seen the one that the insiders have?
No, I haven't seen.
Oh, bro, no, the boxes aren't going anywhere. It's
Oh,
more boxes.
just give me a minimalist home screen. That's all I want. And Sony is almost there for me because I love that little bar that comes up. I wish that was just standard, but Sony is just like it's too cluttery. There's too much stuff everywhere. Let me just see a whole screen of just, game icons. I don't know. I wish I
I
could
like the
customize it more.
I like the Xbox dashboard.
I mean, I like it to the extent that it works for me and I'm used to it, but like I
Oh
would
no,
love
I
to
like
see
it
it.
like aesthetically. Like
Really?
I prefer I like things organized, like very like structurally organized. And the PlayStation UI is fine, but it doesn't like
I'm surprised about that
uh,
because you're someone that is a minimalist, like in your
mm-hmm,
home and stuff like that. You've talked
yeah,
about that. And the
yeah.
Xbox dashboard is not minimalist. There's a lot going on that dashboard.
Everything's labeled. It's easy to find. The new one is like weird because the boxes are all like aligned, but they're not the same size. So it just like you
Ooh,
have
if
a
that's the
big
case, that's weird.
rectangle, and yeah, it's very weird. I'm not a I don't like the new
Sam
readers.
says, Kevin, you're a madman.
Yeah, I know. The PS5 UI is fine. It's nothing.
PS5 UI is almost there.
I literally the only thing I know how to do, I can go to my trophies, I can go to my storage, I can go to my games, and that's about all I can do on the PS5.
Yeah.
I was trying to find the Valkyrie Elysium demo for 20 minutes the other day. Wasn't I would search Valkyrie Elysium in the store. Nothing came up, not even a store page for the actual game. I tried searching in the PS Plus section, the store section. You know where it was? You have to go into the store, look at upcoming games, click Valkyrie Elysium, go to the little
Oh,
little dots next to it, and then there's two buttons that says demo. I assume I don't
oof.
know. I assume maybe one's for PS4. Awful.
Yeah,
You want to know how I get a demo on
that's
Xbox?
tough.
I type go to the store and I type Diofield Chron. Oh, three different listings show up. Done.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah. PlayStation, I think too, the PlayStation UI, I think accessing Game Pass is so much easier than accessing and finding what you want on PS Plus.
Are you telling me that two tiles that says game catalog and PS Plus isn't clear?
No, it's not. And so really my strategy with PS Plus is I know what game I want to play. I Google it if it's on PS Plus, and then I look it up in the store and it gives me the option to install. Game Pass, they have it split up by the newest releases, what's leaving soon, different genres, everything's right there. Sony, follow Game Pass a
The
little
one thing
bit
I
on
will say
this.
about PlayStation is I like how the background you can actually see it and it changes
That's
when you go over a game
exactly.
tile. I
That's
like
what I
that.
want on Xbox. That's what
I
I want
like
on Xbox.
that, but otherwise, no, I can't do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Last question comes from May Koi of Okinawa, or Sin Eater, if you want to call him that. He says, "Is there a game that helped either of you with your mental health?"
I don't remember this question in the show notes. Was this a newer one that was added today?
No, I added it yesterday.
Oh, I just
I have
missed
an
the last
answer
one.
if you want some
Yeah,
time to think.
you go ahead. I gotta think about it.
Celeste is the first one that comes to mind. That game deals with mental health, deals with depression as she's climbing the mountain. I think that game tells a really impactful story and was great for someone like I played it at a time where I didn't have the best mental health, so it definitely was impactful. And same vein, Hellblade. I think Hellblade. Obviously, I can't relate to what Sen was going through because she has the
Yeah.
like psychosis and stuff. But as someone with a degree in psychology, I think the way that they portray mental health in there was phenomenal. And I can see that as a really impactful tool for mental health issues. So I would highlight those two.
Thinking about it, as you guys know, I was in the Navy and doing deployments away from home. It's very stressful. You're away from your family. You're cut off from contact from the outside world because you're in dangerous waters and all that stuff. And I had a gaming laptop, and my only escape, because you can't leave the ship, obviously, you're in the middle of the ocean. You eat, sleep, live with all the people that you work with, whether you like them or not. You do the same job every day. You wear the same clothes. You got to get up and shave at 6 in the morning. You do same day, no days off. And the only respite that I ever got from that was going on my laptop and playing Skyrim and Fallout 4. Those two games are games that you could really immerse yourself into. So those couple hours that I got playing those games would absolutely recharge me to be able to handle it the next day. So I think that's why I talk about how special Bethesda is to me, is because those games really saved me a lot of issues while I was in the service, and because they were always there for me. And I could boot them up and instantly be transported into an awesome big open world that you could it was just a sandbox and you could play around with. So those two games for me, I think, are my mental health games for sure.
Great choices, great choices. And that is it for the show. However,
Yeah.
Ethan, before we go,
Yes.
I wanted to point out that multiple other developers have come forth and said that Google did not tell them that this was happening.
We got drama, folks. We're going to talk about it next week.
Tom V, and he says Tangle Tower was due to launch on Stadia in 2 days' time. This article's the first time hearing about it shutting down. Rebecca
No.
Heinman says we have a title coming out November 1st. Now we hear about this. So maybe just give them a heads up if you're going to shut down a
Well,
service.
it's
But
too late now.
too late now. Cat's out of the bag. But Ethan, had a lot
Yeah.
of fun with you. Can you let everyone know where they can find you?
You can find me at WhiteCedar1 on Twitter and on PSN, and Gravy3448 on Xbox.
And you can find me at the Muffin Mon. So 1-7I and 0-7A. Follow us at Save Game Media to stay up to date with all of our latest. I will say next week we do not have a live show. It's going to be pre-recorded. But
Yeah.
same time, it'll be here Thursday, 5 p.m. If you want to come for the premiere, I will try to be in the chat to talk to people if you still want to come hang out. We have a special guest. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, we'll see you. Goodbye.
Peace.